buenos días. Mientras se va sentando la gente, simplemente, daros a todos la bienvenida y el agradecimiento por estar aquí. Me toca presentar y acompañar a alguien que yo creo que no necesita demasiada presentación. Ya sabéis todos que es el invitado de honor de esta primera edición del festival que organiza Malba. Bueno, cuando le propusimos la posibilidad de venir aquí a Buenos Aires y hacer una pequeña retrospectiva con él añadió la posibilidad de hacer esa masterclass en un acto de generosidad que yo creo que encaja muy bien también con su cine. Y sí, no tengo demasiado más que decir, más que simplemente explicar que la sesión de unas 3 horas aproximadamente, aunque vamos con un poquito de retraso, no va a tener descanso para poder exprimir al máximo su presencia aquí. Intentaremos dejar al final como unos 20 minutos para ruegos, preguntas y quejas. Y bueno, vamos a arrancar yo creo que con un vídeo que sirve a modo de introducción y luego ya directamente él empezará con este repaso a su trayectoria tanto cinematográfica como en el campo del videoarte y las exposiciones. Así que muchas gracias y muchas gracias, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you for coming so early. I mean, I know your time. Traditionally, I show something before the talk. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm really happy to show this piece that is part of the installation I made for 2009, and it's a music video. It's something of a collaborative project that I work with many of the teenagers in the village in the northeastern region where I grew up. Anyway, just let's go. So to have a kickstart.
จะหนักเหลือเกินแต่ฉันยังคงหายใจทำทุกอย่างต่อไปหนทางอีกแสนไกลแม้สุดท้ายจะเป็นอย่างไรก็ตามแต่ฉันยังคงหายใจทำทุกอย่างต่อไปหนทางอีกแสนไกลแม้สุดท้ายจะเป็นอย่างไรก็ตาม ที่ไม่ต้องการวันที่เราต้องแพ้และอ่อนแอได้แต่แพ้มันไปทุกอย่าง
That's the last one of the last project that involved the installations that I made. Just want to present here. Actually, the theme of this talk, this master class today is called Delirium, and I think I want to show this kind of delirium in my work in the way that I enter moving images practice, and that also another reason is to wake us up in the morning and to wake me up actually. So people, so this morning again is going to be focused on the short film and the art practice, visual art thing that I think is very rare opportunity because many audience maybe in here are quite familiar with the long project, long feature film over the years. So I will focus on that. I think for me, let me talk about myself. Now I'm 40 and I'm growing up in a northeastern town in Thailand, and in a family that my parents are doctors. So we live in the hospital area, in the housing, doctors' housing. So my world back then was very contained, self-contained, just hospital and the school and cinema. So for me, cinema is the window to outside world. Now when you look at this town, my hometown, it's changed a lot. There's a lot of progress, so-called progress with really ugly buildings, and so. But back then was a lot of nature, and a lot of my time was spent in the hospital, meaning like going to, it's become our playground. So I just walk around and see people and play with the other doctors' son and daughters. So it's really influenced me, I think, for the filmmaking time. And sorry, I study architecture because it seemed like a good career, and for me, making film is, it's not like life. It's like going to that theater. It's not going to another world. That doesn't seem like a profession. So I choose my second love, which was architecture, which I found that they kind of complement and help me in the thinking of my filmmaking career. So I spent 5 years studying architecture in my hometown, and then I moved to Chicago to study visual arts. I tried many things, painting and photography, and even something like holography, right? 3D, 4D, 3D images making. But what struck me the most is film, and especially experimental film from the U.S. So I was really into the idea that one can make film personally, like a sculpture or a painter, that is in the classical sense, that you can do alone. And that's what I did in school to really explore the medium. It's the first time that I touched the celluloid, so it's very precious because you only see the image project on film to the screen, but you never touch its material. So my earlier works are very much into that practice, and I went back to Thailand and I tried to put the structural film into my practice, but somehow it didn't fit. I don't feel that it belonged to the culture or the memory that I had in Thailand, because the country is full of narrative and full of many myths, and I don't know, it's a narrative-driven culture. So I abandoned this purely experimental form and try to find my own expression. So I go through the phase of looking for ways to build my own movie. And the first movie was started in 1997, and I completed it in 2000. It's called Mysterious Object at Noon. We can show it. It's something that I'll show it outside. So it's a black and white film, 16 millimeter, and I didn't have money. I just shot when I had money, because of this money problem. I used a structure, very flexible structure, in a way that I can stop anytime. The idea was inspired by the what you call exquisite corpse, where there's in the surrealist artists in the 20s, they draw the paper in the bar, and then they fold the paper and they pass along the paper to the next person, but the next person can see only the line, from continue from the first, and then he or she draw, and then fold the paper, and then another person continue the line. So at the end of the table, they unfold the paper, and you got this crazy picture. So I wonder, well, this can be transformed into cinematic form, and so I use that kind of as a launching ground of building the movie by asking people around the country for their stories, for the fictional stories. So it's a start of the idea of collaboration. Excuse me. In fact, it has some element of my previous work also, of those experimental films that I try to, stay away from it somehow, because I feel I'm not a good screenwriter, so I try to find a story from people and work in a collaborative nature. So the whole film is about people telling me a story, fictional story, but at the same time, you never know if it's true or which is real documentary in the footage. So it's one of the first films that I really exploring the boundary between fact and fiction. And it took me 3 years to finish the film, until our money ran out and the camera broke down, and so it was very something that I cannot do it again. It was too much of I did the camera and I did all this thing with another guy, and we have a very small crew. So when we gather all the fictional story from people, then I went to the central part of Bangkok and shot the fictional story, which are very going here and there because it's by many people. And in the end, it really shows how the imagination of the people, related to their invention, their story, and I found that the most interesting contributor to the project are school kids. they are very wild in their imagination, and in the end, the main character is Dog Fa, which is the woman, the teacher. So in the end, the kids at the school in the south tell us, oh, the tiger eats Dog Fa and then she die. So I said, oh, what do I do? My main character is dead. So that's when I have to stop the project, and then there's a little bonus track in the end, but that's it. Yeah. So it's the first movie, and then of course there's Blissfully Yours that is also is more narrative, and it's the first film that I got very into the jungle. My idea was very fresh out of school, cinema school, so I was very put a lot of pressure on myself, that the camera or the technique of film should be one only. For each technique, for example, there's a dolly shot, and I allow only one dolly shot, and there's a subjective shot like point of view shot, and I allow only one in the movie, for example. So this kind of play with the cinematic form is for me is really a challenge. So but gradually I change. I change because I feel that I shouldn't make rules and be so stiff to for the sake of experimentation. So my later film has more relaxed tone, and I don't care now there's a point of view or any kind of shot. Dolly can be twice in the film, so I loosen up, let's say, or I getting older. So it's the movie that depends so much on the natural lights. I really and at that time I was not thinking much about the nature. I just think about people lost in their in the pleasure, and the pleasure how it can be turned into suffering because of the attachment, to sex, to love, and to food. And this film, sometimes we didn't shoot for many days because we were waiting for the sun to come out on one spot. So we just sat there and play cards, So it's a process that made me really appreciate the jungle, because then you notice that it's very powerful. Is one of the best character actor in cinema. That it depends on a lot of temperature and the time of the day, the lighting, everything, that it changed the character. So I start to explore more in the second film, which is Tropical Malady, that I put it more into enhance more of the character, jungle as a character. So you can open like that. So Tropical Melody is also the first movie that talk about my sexuality, and that. But while I'm making it, I just feel that it's not only homosexuality. It's about love in a very universal way. It can apply to anyone, So gradually it becomes something very natural for everyone on the crew and for me. And yeah, and it's the one that involved with the the myth of and also the idea of the divide of the movie into half, because like Blissfully Yours, I think each movie is like animal, you when you finish the script, it's not finished, like Alfred Hitchcock said that when he finished the script, his movie is done. For me, it's the opposite, because movies are like animals, so and each movie is different animal. So you got to really, that's the end of the clip, yeah. So get to know them. When I make it, I be very flexible in terms of location, actors, and each day how they feel and how I feel. And sometimes we just change the script on the spot, or the night before I just wrote the script and I just gave it to the crew, like, here the script for the day. So it's difficult at first, but we use the same crew from the beginning for more than 10 years now, so people know, yeah. And I tend to cut a lot of, I tend to shoot a lot. It's not that I know everything, and that's what I feel very comfortable with cinema, because I'm a very indecisive person. I don't want to decide, so I just shot a lot. With theater I cannot do that. So in cinema that's a privilege, and we shot a lot, like, and my art director sometimes say, especially with the big elaborate setting, he said, is this going to be in the film? And he's right. I always cut out the complicated one. And so another long film of mine is Trash.
โตขึ้นมากับเราเด็กกำพร้าชีวิตวัยเด็กมีแต่ความลำบากแต่ในที่สุดชะตาชีวิตก็ได้นำพามาสู่บ้านของท่านนี่แหละค่ะ
It's called The Adventure of Iron Pussy.
ฉันหวังว่าเธอคงจะมีความสุขภายใต้ชายคาของครอบครัวของเรานะจ๊ะแม้ว่าเธอจะเป็นเพียงสาวใช้ผู้ต่ำต้อยแต่ฉันขอเชิญเธอไปร่วมล่าสัตว์กับเราในวันพรุ่งนี้ด้วย
ขอบพระคุณค่ะมาดาม
So it's a simulation of soap opera and all Thai films.
จะปาจ๋าเขารักฉันรู้นะแล้วแม่เขาก็รักฉันด้วย
She said, I love.
แต่ความจริง
He loved me and I know. But it's impossible love. I don't know what to do.
ฉันจะทำยังไงดี
What do I do?
แล้วเขาเป็นใคร
Who is he?
เธอบอกฉันได้ไหม
Can you tell me? Actually, it's their boss. So this is the collaborator of the project. His name is Michael Shawanasai, and he created this character called Iron Pussy, and it's always that he's a heroine that during the day he's an office worker in the art gallery. And at night he dress up very beautifully and fight crime and kick ass. Yeah. So for me, people tend to, to exclude exclude this from my filmography. But I really like it because when I show later, you can see that I'm really interested in the media. How the media in Thailand, especially TV, play the roles in changing our mind and the landscape and architecture. Iron Pussy was a collaboration, and this is the fourth one because Michael has made three Iron Pussy already, and it's always in the town. So I proposed him, okay, let's do it long one, and to transport her into the past, which is the past of the trash of Thai cinema, that people don't really care much about. And because in the past, you have 10 days or and sometimes the main actors go to shoot for 3 movies in one day, just go from one set, and the director can make 2 movies in a month. So it's very quick process, and for me it's a challenge to put myself into that situation. So I didn't have time to analyze the character and something. It just shoot, and it's a concept. It's very concept for that, yeah. And also another thing is Iron Pussy, as you know, she's a strong character. So to put her into the past where the female character is very have a role that you cannot kick ass. So you have to be very, very proper manner. So Iron Pussy has to learn to be a woman, a real woman, or a woman in the cinema in the past. So that's the idea, yeah. And then Syndrome and a Century is 2007.
นี้พวกบ้านเราเป็นไงกันบ้าง
ก็บ้านที่อยู่ติดกับบ้านอาจารย์นะครับคุณพ่อก็ขายไปแล้วครับ
อ๋อขายแล้วเหรอแล้วไปอยู่ที่ไหนกันล่ะ
ย้ายไปอยู่ที่ชะอำครับ
อ๋อแล้วพี่สาวหมอล่ะ
พี่สาวเขาอยู่กับแฟนเขาครับ
เหรออ๋อแล้วตัวหมอล่ะ
ผมก็ไปอยู่ด้วยกับพี่สาวครับ
อ๋อตอนนี้หมอยศอะไรแล้วล่ะ
ยศร้อยโทแล้วครับ
ร้อยโทแล้วเหรอก็เร็วดีนะแต่เมื่อก่อนหมอซนนะซนมากเลยเอาขี้โคลนในป้ายบ้านป้าเนี่ย
ขอโทษมาเลย
หมอนั่นนี่หมอนั่น
สวัสดีครับ
นี่หมอนองหมอฮิมาโตไง
ค่ะแต่มาคุยกับอาจารย์ดีว่าน่าจะเป็นหมอฮิมาโตเป็นผู้ชายสักที
นั่นสิหมอนึกไงขึ้นมาถึงได้มาเรียนทางนี้
พอดีพี่สาวเป็นอัลฟาทาลัสซีเมียครับก็เลยสนใจตรงนี้เพื่อจะได้ช่วยพี่
จะได้รักษาพี่ไปด้วยไง
ไม่หมอก็มียีนทาลัสซีเมีย
So this is the movie that's constructed from the stories of my mother and my father. So it divided into 2. The first part is dedicated to my mom, and the second is, which is what you're seeing now, is dedicated to my father before I was born. So, but I put a lot of myself in, and like the dialogue here, like thalassemia disease, is what my father has, and also is what my sister have. This kind of thing that I put a little personal reference in it, and it always happens in all the works. And the way we shot the scene was very improvised because of course I went to the location before, but when I shoot the film, we just prepare, like now it start to move the dolly, but it didn't in the script, it wasn't in the script, the dolly. So I worked very closely with my DP, which is a cinematographer. So, so he and I really try to work in the space on that day and try to make it work. So so we try many ways of of moving the camera to reflect certain mood for the scenes. Yeah. So. And the film always has personal references. Apart from that story, also the location. This is the location of my father. It's our hometown, and it's a hospital where, in his later years, he went to do physical therapy in this space. So I want to remember. I want to capture that, and in one of the scenes that we're not seeing here is you can see the young guy playing tennis on the corridor, and it doesn't make sense, he just played tennis on the corridor, but in fact tennis is one of the only sport that my father play, so that this kind of thing that I put in. Yeah.
อาจารย์ทำอะไรครับ
ก็รักษาแบบจักระคืออาจารย์รับพลังจากดวงอาทิตย์แล้วตรงนี้กลางกระหม่อมนี่เป็นจุดจักระอาจารย์ก็จะถ่ายทอดพลังให้เขา
อาจารย์เคยเห็นเมื่อก่อนนะ
หนูลองหลับตาสิจ๊ะนะตอนนี้หนูต้องนึกภาพนะว่าหนูน่ะกำลังเดินอยู่ในป่านะจ๊ะมีน้ำตกใหญ่มีลำธารน้ำใสแจ๋วน้ำเย็นมากทีนี้หนูลองเอามือทั้งสองขึ้นมาสิค่อยๆยก
So it's the idea of trying to put personal references in, and also my obsession of hospital and how people always want to get yourself better, and in the hospital area you always I think people always move slower. From my memory, people move very slower, the patient and the relatives, and the time is different. I think hospital area is like a cinema in the way that it's a place that time is different from reality. And the way that she look at the camera is one of the way that I want to capture this face of people. She look like my friends, my mother's friend. So she look at you, and it's like, hey, this is my time and this is my place. I'm a doctor, and also to remind the audience that you're looking at the illusion. That it's like a game, it's not true. Everything is fiction. So, yeah. And now we come out after you look. She look at you, and we come out to the stage. You see human, in full body. It's really like animal behavior in a way, So.
Can I ask just a question?
Yes, please.
You tell that the scene was quite improvised, but how's the work with the actors? They know what they have to say, or you didn't just talk about this and?
Yes, they have a script before, but it's impossible when you go into the space, and they've been shown the space the day before, and then a little rehearsal. So, but it's for me, most of them are non-professional. This guy who's my doctor, my father, he's a graphic, he's a webmaster, and this guy is a DJ. Yeah. So and this is a famous actress actually, but in the past, and this one she's selling how you call it, a water filter system, house to house. So it's about this freshness that is sometimes difficult for me and for them to work, but we have to have a very comfortable relationship, no matter how you rehearse. When the actual shooting starts, it's everything change. They become tense, and you know is sometimes we made mistake. For example, this scene is I think 5 or 6 minutes take, and that it takes a big roll of film, you know, not 400 feet, like a big, and it's expensive, and we have a taboo of not telling anything about that, and so, but somehow some people on the crew, you know, there's so many takes, 20 something, and some people in the crew say to them, you know how expensive each take is? So, that's terrible. That's terrible thing to say. I mean, because they feel very more pressure. Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah. And but anyway, these are the movie, and then of course Uncle Bunmi is another thing that is part of the installation work called Primitive that I showed the music video before. But now I like to switch gears to show you other practice that is not many people know that I do this thing. In fact, maybe I spend a lot of time more with this project. So so since the beginning, when I moved from Chicago to Thailand, I know I cannot work in the States because it's not inspiring. I work in Thailand, and my friends automatically put my short film into the gallery. So when I make short film, I make some video works, and she put there. So, and it's at the time in the early 2000, 10 years ago, that the mixture between art, video art, and cinema is very blurry, and it's mixed, especially from the French. You know, sometimes they put the theater into the museum, you know, and they have the time, you know, the screening like a mini movie. For me, I don't like that, but it's kind of a trend that, you know, that you don't sometimes you question, or you don't question what's the difference between cinema and art. Yeah. So I start to make this video, but this one started in Japan because I got a residency grant to live in Japan for 3 months. So again, it comes with the collaboration. You know, I find a story from people. So I shot. This is video still. So I shot video and you know, of people, and ask them, interview them, question, and in the show we have, it's called narrative. So people combine their own narrative into the work, and sometimes we show in a more closed setting where we pass the microphone around so the audience can tell the story of what they see on the screen. So the narrative always change. And for example, in the back of these two screens, there's another story, you know. So, and there's a sound. These two are silent, but the sound sometimes change the meaning of the image in front. This is another one, and on the back is that is something that I'm interested in. Media, soap opera. So I took the script from Thai television, very short script, soap opera, and I took the script to a Japanese filmmaker, and I asked them, and I asked him to make his own version from the script. So I'm interested in how the text of the movie has been transformed into image in different interpretation, different culture. So it's about representation, and this video, you know, in the same space, is what I interview a lot of volunteers about their life, but somehow the subtitle is a silent video, but the subtitles say a different thing. So sometimes it's taken from another person, sometimes it's repeated. So it just you realize that how much you depend on subtitle to get narrative. So for this guy, he say, sometimes he refer himself as a woman, so because it's from another text, and sometimes it's repeated, like I have a lung disease, and then another girl talk, and then I have a lung disease. So you have this different narrative. So it's like Mysterious Object at Noon, the feature film, black and white one. That it's about collaboration, it's about finding story and how you use that material to question the fact whether there's a reality in cinema, and and this is another project. I don't know what it's called. It's also made in Japan. It's inspired by Jean Rouge, a French filmmaker, summer something, Chronicle of the Summer. And in the documentary, it's an old documentary, he asked people on the street, are you happy? But for me, I want, again, like Mysterious Object at Noon, I want to transform the artwork into moving image or activities. For here, we release balloons. And on the balloon there's a postcard, a prepaid postcard asking, are you happy? So for me, I'm not I cannot control of my work, so I want the nature to control, where this balloon reach the participants. So it's about the wind. So we got very interesting answers. Sometimes you say, I'm a cat, and I'm very happy because my owner feed me very delicious tuna. So this kind of thing. So it's a way of finding story, finding participants, and that the idea of the author has become less important. And so this is in Sapporo in Japan, and many of the balloons went into the sea. But we got some feedback. But and this is another thing, the same thing that we did in Mexico City. We should do in Buenos Aires. So
you have time.
I'm interested in the definition of happiness, how people define happiness in different culture. For example, in Mexico, you have different belief, you have different kind of belief in religion, in what happiness is for you. So we released that, and this is in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, the same thing. So we gather the reply, and this one is a video piece. Actually, is simulated from the cover of a Thai popular serial magazine that maybe you have it here. I don't know. There's a soap opera at night, and this magazine always have the story. So people who really want to know the ending or they buy this magazine, and it's always some kind of narrative on the cover. So I asked the non-professional people, to pose for the magazine, for magazine cover format, but it's a video piece. So some they cannot stay still. So sometimes it's a little movement, and the audience can put their own imagination of the story in. And this is what I like in terms of, like Uncle Bunmi too. The movie you use your own takes in the movie.
No, just write there is a word you repeat all the time. I think it's very beautiful. It's collaboration.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the thing that we can find the same actors in a lot of your movies, and see and look to your work as a kind of a photo familiar album or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a diary. It's like what it reflects what I'm interested. During that time, I'm interested in media. I still do, and also the idea of collaboration. But when you love someone, so much, it become part of the family, and it's become a record of getting all together. All these actors.
And because you work always with the same photo director and production team, and
yes. So it's become very comfortable. I mean, and it's very collaborative part, because I ask everyone. I ask catering people who serve water, and what should I do? I had no idea today, or I asked the actor, if it's like this today, what will you do as a character or something like that? So it's very open, yeah. So this is the installation format in Belgium that of that thing. And from time to time the background fade and there's only one man, and I like to mix things. And on the other side is a soldier sleeping. So it's a sketch for tropical malady. Actually, I was inspired by during the research. I got to see old photo of the forest patrol sleeping. So I asked the guy who's in real life. He's a forest ranger, like the character in the movie. So I document him. That's all. So this is another place, but we simulate the same room. This is about the relationship between narrative and audio. This is in Korea, and it's a soundproof room, but at the same time you only hear the sound from outside. There's a window, soundproof window, and there's another movie playing out there, but the sound is from another one outside. So you got the influence from narrative from the other into the image of this one. Yeah. This is outside. Yeah. So. And this is another collaborating thing that I throw away my authorship. I asked the curators, many art curators who are friends of mine abroad and in Thailand, to introduce to give me the curriculum vitae, the CV, and I supplied the CV to the radio station, and also my CV, and the radio play. They create the radio play. So in the end, it becomes 30 minutes of drama, sound drama, and I'm playing. I'm in it. So it's called Artist Love or something, because I have no restriction for them. You can make any drama for me from this character. So again, it's about this finding story and having someone take control of it. And so for me, I think in this story, I fight for one woman, a very beautiful artist, and I fight with another artist. Yeah. So we go on to more installation. Looking, this is called Ghost of Asia. It's a 2-screen installation that after the tsunami, I went to the island with a French artist. We collaborate, and actually we didn't know what we want to do. We just went there with the camera, and then we found these kids, and then we asked them to tell us what they want to see in the movie. And we supply the actor, the guy from Tropical Malady, and we told the kids like, okay, you can ask him to do anything. You are the director. So they direct, and it's very innocent. They say, oh, go to pee, go take a bath and play with the dog. This kind of thing, but it's very spontaneous. We don't cut, so it's really linear. You can see the pattern of thinking. Sometimes it's repeat. Take a shower. I say, take a shower again. He did already, but that's the thinking. And it shows the activity in the island, what they do. So it's more about about life. It's not about death. For me, to commemorate the violence. Yeah. This is more commercial works. It's a concert that I'm not gonna do it again. It's a concert. I think 7 hours concert that I'm in charge of the image and live image. And another guy is in charge of animation. So we shot the live image to be played on the background. But the interesting thing is the screen size is very unusual, in unusual shapes. Well, here we play with water. The idea is about evolution because it's 10 years of this music label. So we play with I have many ideas, and so because of the screen it's not 16 by 9, I don't know what, it's really long. So we have many cameras, and so we put the image together. We attach. This is the concert space. So you can see that it's a very long screen. So it's not recent concert, so it's really handmade, homemade, because in the back of each screen there are projectors, so they're all synchronized projector in the back. Yeah, and this is how this is when it's a rehearsal. Yeah, it was very fun, but it's very nerve-wracking because it's live. Again, I'm not used to this theater thing, and yeah, so I hope we have time to show the moving images. Yeah.